Hey, it's Michael here with the Heavy Hockey Post Game. This one's brought to you by a big old can of whoop ass. Heavy Hockey. It isn't dead, it's just getting started.
Thanks for setting that up, Michael. Dash here as well from the Heavy Hockey Network, sitting alongside my colleague, Mr. Hebert, as we break down the 5-1 Oilers victory over the Penguins. Pretty dominant performance. We got 5 goals on the road. We clinched second in the Pacific. Home ice advantage for the first round of the playoffs. Connor McDavid gets 4 points in the effort, making that 8 points in 2 games versus the Penguins this year, where he gets a goal and 3 assists in both efforts. And Mike Smith continues his hot streak, believe it or not, and continues to 9 wins in a row, tying Andy Moog and Tommy Salo for an Oilers record. Very, very good to see him peaking at this time.
Thanks, Dash, for the recap. Here are my 3 keys to the game. Of course, team play. I thought the Oilers were all over the puck tonight or last night in Pittsburgh. Penguins never had much room. Oilers had a great offensive zone presence all night and felt really like they were coming in 2s and 3s on that puck all night. Great to see. Second up, Mike Smith. I mean, you talked about it in the recap. He's 9-0-0 in his last 9. Another solid outing. My favorite part, though, was his 2 tries at the goal, and really loved him skating for congrats before it went in at the end. Whoops.
Little pre-celebration.
Yeah. And Connor McDavid. What can you say about Connor that hasn't already been said? He's the boss, and he just keeps getting it done. Another 4-point night for him. If he doesn't win the Hart, he definitely is Edmonton's most valuable player, and that's an easy one. Those are my 3 keys. Off to you, Dash. Let us know what your 3 keys are.
Yeah, tough to disagree with you there. I think obviously goaltending was a big part of that. Hard to disagree. I think Mike Smith made a couple of really key saves at key times, especially with 2 minutes left in the first period. I thought that was a potential momentum shifting goal that could have been scored. And instead he shuts the door and we go on. As well, the special teams. You can't go on this keys to the game without discussing special teams here, Michael. We have had one of the best penalty kills in the NHL over the last 20 to 30 games. We're scoring more on the penalty kill than we're being scored against. And we blanked the Pittsburgh Penguins 0 for 4 while we score 2 in the third on the power play and go 2 for 4. Special teams was a big part of that. And my 3rd key, and how can I not share it with you, my friend, Connor freaking McDavid. He sets a career high in goals. He sets a career high in points. Oh, and let's just say that he may have passed Crosby's career high in points in a season while playing Sidney Crosby. What can we say about Connor McDavid that hasn't been said? Connor McDavid wasn't the only one that had a great game against the Penguins. Evan Bouchard had dynamite in his stick, and Evander King continued his hot streak. This game saw a ton of offensive chances. Michael and I wanted to collect what we thought was a highlight of the game. And when it came down to it, in order to be able to cap off the Penguins and Oilers portion of this, and before we get on to talking about San Jose and Vancouver to close off, we wanted to share what we thought was our highlight of the night, and it goes a little something like this. As ESPN put it, 5 strides, and that's all it took for Connor McDavid to race by 2 Penguins, clinch second place, and get home ice in the playoffs.
And a post game with Dash wouldn't be complete without a Duncan Keith highlight. Here's Duncan Keith with his 2000th shot block of his career.
Congratulations to Duncan Keith here on being too slow to get out of the way of the puck for the last 10 years of his 15-year career.
That concludes our Penguins Oilers postgame. Here's my setup for Thursday's second last game of the season with the San Jose Sharks. 3 things I'm looking for in this game. What does Woodcroft do with Jesse Puljujarvi, who should be back in the lineup for Thursday? Do we see Archibald play in as we're coming down the stretch, and might see him in some home games in the playoff run? And we'll know whether it's against San Jose or against Vancouver, but expect Koskinen to get the net one of those nights. And I'm curious, can Koskinen bounce back after the Columbus loss and maybe take a win into the postseason?
I've got 3 things as well, Michael, and they sort of overlap a little bit with what you've looked at. And really, since we both know our hockey so well, why wouldn't they, right? Ultimately, you looking at the Archie side of it, I look at the Broberg side of it. I think if Broberg's going to get called up here for this game, I'd like to see where he slots in. I believe they would go with 7D as opposed to 60 at home here. I can see Archibald getting into one of these games. I just don't know whether it's the San Jose or the Vancouver game. So I look to see where they slot Broberg. I also want to see if they can keep this momentum up. I believe peaking too fast can be a problem, and there's been talk of us doing that, and here we are, and 2 games left in the season, and we're still on our heater. So I think it's important to follow that through to the end of the season and make sure that we finish the job on San Jose and Vancouver, and take the right mindset and confidence into the playoffs. My third is the goaltending. You said you think Koskinen may start, and if he does, will he bounce back? Mine's similar. It's Mike Smith. Can he keep this up for the one more game that he plays? I strongly believe he's going to ride this wagon until it falls apart right into the playoffs, if it's the last thing he does. So hold up for one more game. Let's get healthy into the postseason, and I look for Mike Smith to have a confident, solid game going into the playoffs.
All right, thanks for that, Dash, and we'll finish this off with a prediction for the Edmonton Oilers versus San Jose Sharks. I'm going to take the Oilers with 4 and San Jose with 2. Another strong win for the Oilers. Dash, what's your prediction for the game?
I think coming off a road trip, first game at home, we may not be that dominant, but I do see a win. I'm going to go a little lower scoring and say 2-1 Oilers.
Perfect. And that concludes the Heavy Hockey postgame. All the Heavy Hockey contributors do a postgame each and every game in their own style. We hope you enjoyed this one. Please keep coming back, hit like and subscribe. And we're looking forward to seeing you in the playoffs. Let's go Oilers.